Okay, and here are this is the theme of the YouTube session. What changes can we expect in what service providers offer? So if you can leave your comments on YouTube chat, then we will be able to bring those to you as we go through this session. But coming back to our panelists, I can see a selection of people there, but including Liz Jovich, who is certainly one of those people meant to be joining us at the moment. Liz, thank you very much indeed from WBN. That's International Employee Benefits, Employee Health, and those sort of things. Joining us, I think, from the US. Is that correct?
Washington, D.C. metro area.
Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. Yes, exactly. So, Liz, I mean, from a service provider's perspective, I mean, I don't know how much you've been watching and listening up until this point. What's the perspective from over there in the US? How are you finding things?
Well, I mean, like everywhere else, we're just trying to take this one day at a time and figure out what the next steps are for coming out of the crisis. But as we really look at kind of the role of the broker and consultant and how that will evolve as we emerge from the crisis, I really kind of look at this in two different categories. So what are we going to start doing and what are we going to continue doing? I think the first thing that we'll see brokers start doing is expanding their offering and expertise beyond simply the buying and placement of insurance. Generally, I would argue that our customers are looking for a single resource, a single point of knowledge for all things related to employee benefits, including those that fall outside of the scope of insurance. So we'll see the expertise of the employee benefits consultant expand into such areas as well-being, especially mental well-being, and programs like that, flexible benefit programs, technology and analytics services, and then finally, the intersection between employment law, tax law, and employee benefits offerings, which is something that we don't always see today in the global consulting arena. And then additionally, as I know many of you are experiencing, the globally mobile workforce continues to expand at a rapid rate. And the result of this, I believe, is that the broker or consultant of the future will shift their services to start providing more focus on helping organizations to meet their duty of care obligation. I think historically we've seen a strong delineation between the risk management or property and casualty side of our business and the employee benefits side. But as the COVID crisis has shown us, there's an incredible amount of overlap and intersection between these two areas when managing a business, especially if that business has globally mobile employees. So I think that this focus on duty of care, particularly for that globally mobile workforce, will start to blur the lines between the traditional risk management focus and the traditional employee benefits into an integrated, globally focused approach to protecting the business and its employees. And then finally, what will we continue to do? I think that the employee experience will continue to be a point of focus for brokers and consultants moving forward. As we look at key surveys and research pieces that are released each year, we continue to see trends of employers looking for ways to enhance the employee experience as a method of attracting and retaining talent. And employee benefits are a vital element in ensuring a cohesive employee experience. And the COVID crisis has made this extremely evident, and we'll continue to see this as a strategic offering of many benefits consultants and brokers.
Great, thank you very much indeed, Liz. I see Damon Ward has just managed to join us. I hope I haven't caught you too early, but Damon, thank you very much indeed for joining us from INEO. I think you're in Denver, would that be correct?
No, I'm in the UK.
That's right. In Denver. That's Denver near, yes. Exactly.
Denver near Reading, yes.
But anyway, thanks for joining us all the way from the UK, which is not that far. But so as far as INEO is concerned, I mean, INEO, of course, is a GM software company, really, dealing with compensation, talent management, etc. I mean, how have you find things, and how have you think things are going to change now, given the situation we're in?
I think it was interesting actually listening to Michael's comments earlier on, and that was without any kind of collaboration, where he was talking about knowledge distribution via technology. And obviously, as far as the Connected GM initiative is concerned, that's something that we're very much looking at. I mean, I think from the technology perspective, now more than ever before, there's going to be a far greater collaboration between the technology providers and the end users, be them RMCs or corporate clients, as it were. And I think to that point, in terms of the sharing of knowledge and defining client needs, the need to actually engage with subject matter experts on both sides within an organization. And again, some contributors have been speaking about how the profile of the GM function has raised during the current crisis. And I think the need for technology platforms and associated support to be able to show and demonstrate its value to an organization and across functions is vitally important now. So as I say, getting those subject matter experts in as soon as possible to ensure the product, the service offering is, what is needed throughout the group is critical, I believe.
That actually follows on rather well from what David was saying earlier. David, do you have a follow-up question on that?
Yeah, well, I think it's perhaps less of a follow-up question, but more of an observation. I think this theme, Damon, you and I have talked about this an unhealthy amount, of course, over the last months as we've collaborated on developing this concept of connected GM, but the concept is connectivity, of course. There are a great range of technology providers out there, but being able to cherry pick the best of different technologies and bring them all together into a comprehensive platform which answers an ever-evolving list of questions, of challenges, of problems that we have to face as GM leaders. Of course, for me, that's the heart of the matter on this topic. Without wishing to deflect, I think we also have Liz Portala on from Sterling Lexicon. Liz, can you hear us?
Yes, I can, and I apologize. For some reason, my camera is not working for Zoom today. But yeah, I think we wanted to just talk a little bit about how we're delivering services differently, and the fact that our assignees and transferees are very concerned about cleanliness and sterile environments. So how do we move forward and take care of our folks that we're relocating? So for instance, with temporary living, deep cleans between stays, reducing or elimination of things like maid service, which are common in our space. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but in terms of like household goods, how do we keep our crew safe? How do we keep our safe? And, digital is part of this. So no more unpacking, for example, no more touching every item. Transferees can leave a map of where they want, or assignees can leave a map of where they want things to be placed, with videos supporting the fact that, these are your belongings that are getting delivered and where they need to go. Photos of proof of delivery, for example. I mean, these are things that we're going to need to do differently in order to continue to move forward with these movements of belongings, but keeping everyone safe, right? We talked a little bit about area orientations earlier, and is it going to be possible in the next 6 to 12 months to have a destination service provider in the car with the employee and their spouse or partner? Is that going to be feasible, or what's the new norm going to look like? A digital tour, phone calls, Zoom meetings to talk through the properties. And I think, in terms of when I think about how we're supporting our engagements as an organization, we've got to move away from face-to-face meetings for a while. So virtual best and finals, virtual implementation meetings, virtual client reviews, so that we're getting the work done and we're getting the information in front of our clients in a way that's meaningful but safe, right? So, and then I think finally, Dave, real quickly, in terms of strategy moving forward, spending this time now helping our clients reimagine what the future is going to look like in terms of different types of assignments, different types of needs for folks that are working remotely in locations supporting, businesses in other countries. What does it mean from a tax perspective, compliance? What does it mean from an immigration perspective? And really thinking from an agile perspective moving forward versus more of a guideline perspective moving forward versus a fixed sort of, here's our policies, let's just make some adjustments. So that's kind of where we're thinking at this point, and it's moving and changing weekly.
Thank you. But can I just jump in there perhaps with another question? It's maybe slightly mean question, and it can be to any of our panelists, the two Lizzes and to Damon. You know, somebody once said, it may have been Winston Churchill, that, you know, never waste a good crisis. Now, you must have seen in the ways that you engage with your clients, you know, you're forced to innovate, you're forced to think quickly, you're forced to challenge yourselves to do great things in a remarkable short period of time under great pressure. But through that, you know, can you see any of the things that you've been doing actually being beneficial in the long term, even when the world returns to normal, in inverted commas? You know, is there anything that you think is with us here to stay because it makes more sense than the way that we did things before?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, you know, it was just touched on a little bit earlier. I think it was Ginny maybe that said it, that, you know, we need to think about working more smartly. We need to look at different types of ways to support our communities more cost effectively, more efficiently. And if this means that we're going to lean on things like language training digitally or virtually, if we're going to do more work with cultural training, some of these things that historically were very face-to-face, in-person, costly, not agile in terms of when you could experience that training, for example, I think it's going to force the issue in a lot of our areas where we're supporting our assignees and transferees. So yeah, I think it's positive in many ways. I do think it's very stressful though for organizations that can't predict their revenue and can't predict what it's going to look like over the next 12 months. And goes back to some of those questions around, you know, how many companies are really going to be jeopardized financially by this and not be able to come back. So it's a whole nother element that's on the negative side, but I do think there are many positive things coming out of this.
Thank you, Liz. So same question again, perhaps to Liz or to Liz Jovich or to Damon.
Yeah, I think, you know, as a sort of as a service provider, but sort of from a technology perspective, what I have found is that, you know, we've got clients and would-be clients coming to us, and we're having a far greater sort of dive into the needs and perhaps posing some questions as to why a client wants something done in a particular way, rather than just provide an out-of-the-box solution and say, off you go and play with it. And I think for us, that's important. And I guess for any of, you know, anybody in this arena, whereby, you know, we look at how that might apply for the specific client need, but then how that can help other clients as well. So for me, I think this environment is leading perhaps to better conversations and a deeper questioning of what the client needs actually are.
Well, that can only be a good thing if that, of course, stays, Damon. Liz Jovich, how about you? Anything that jumps out in your mind?
Yeah, I'll just round out the conversation by, you know, saying the insurance industry has historically been very siloed. So you've got your medical insurance, your life insurance, your business interruption insurance, your labor accidents or workers' compensation insurance. I think what the crisis has done is shown the need for those to integrate and work together, and highlighted the need for really effective employee communication. And that's been an opportunity that our firm has, you know, seen and jumped on. Is let's push out some easy to digest communication that both employees and HR managers or GM managers can use and leverage to help make sure that their employees are well protected.
Thank you, Liz. Now, you know, better late than never. Perhaps I can jump for a question to Ben. Benjamin, obviously, Dr. Ben Barder, professor at Newcastle University Business School. Now, what's your take on this in terms of the impact in the long-term supply chain? You've heard the rationales from Damon and the two Lizzes, but is there anything you would add?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, in terms of what's going to happen in the future, we have a rough idea what could happen, but there's certainly a lot of uncertain variables. I think the most important point right now is to, and I agree what's been said, there's lots of opportunities. And so we really should consider the future GM strategy. So picking up Michael's initial why we should do that, also look at the question of how. Because this is a great chance. Looking at previous research, a lot of things that are really relevant now. We've been doing research on that, and we've observed that in the REST forum in other contexts. And COVID, for various reasons, was a catalyst for this development, I think. And now it is the time to seize that opportunity and become more proactive. So get away from this reactive moment to a more proactive approach.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think very much Michael phrased it in a recent paper that I was reading. He said, making important decisions, not in a time of crisis, but maybe also then when things return, you can still have those important discussions, and you can maybe take a more balanced view, of course, on some of these difficult discussions. So for me, that was something that stood out. Okay, good.